Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Continuing taking shelter from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. Chapter is called Divinity and Divine Service, and today is text 9. Dharmasya bhavakasya natrataya pakalpate natasya dharmai kantasya kamalabhahi smita. Dharmasya, please repeat.
Dharmasya.
Occupational engagement.
Occupational engagement.
He. Certainly.
Certainly.
Abhavakasya.
Abhavargasya.
Ultimate liberation.
Ultimate liberation.
Na.
Not.
Not. Artha.
Artha.
End.
End.
Athaya.
Adhaya.
For material gain.
For material gain.
Upa eka antasya.
Upa ega antasya.
Sorry, that was wrong. Upa kalpate.
Upa kalpati.
Is meant for.
Is meant for.
Na. Neither.
Neither.
Artasya.
Artasya.
Of material gain.
Of material gain.
Dharma eka antasya.
Dharma ega antasya.
For one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service.
For one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service.
Karma.
Karma.
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification.
Labhaya.
Labhaya.
Attainment.
Attainment.
He.
Exactly.
Shmita.
Smrita.
Is described by the great sages.
Is described by the great sages.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All occupational engagement dharmas are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service dharma should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Purport. We have already discussed that pure devotional service of the Lord is automatically followed by perfect knowledge and detachment from material existence. But there are others who consider that all kinds of different occupational engagement, including those of religion, are meant for material gain. The general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. Even in the Vedic literatures, for all sorts of religious performances, an allurement of material gain is offered, and most people are attracted by such allurements or blessings of religiosity. Why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Because material gain can enable one to fulfill desires, which in turn satisfies sense gratification. This cycle of occupational engagement includes so-called religiosity, followed by material gain, and material gain followed by fulfillment of material desires. Sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied men. But in the statement of Sutta Goswami, as per the verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is nullified by the present sloka. One should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized is described as follows. To be continued. Dharmasya yavakasya natutaya pakalpate natasya dharmai kantasya kamalubhahi smita. All occupational engagement dharmas are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service, dharma, should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Once Prabhupada was asked, what is the essence of your philosophy in a few words? And Prabhupada quoted this verse. So this, you can say, is the mission statement of Srila Prabhupada's movement, or the whole ISKCON society, or actually from Bhagavatam. So it says that everything should be used for Krishna. We all devotees trying to make our way through the obstacles on the path of devotional service. And so many obstacles are there. And some are more inclined towards falling in that kind of pitfall, or some are more inclined to being attached to that kind of sense gratification, and some are more inclined to that. But I think it's safe to say that we all have some anatta still something can improve and make better. But this verse really speaks about pure devotional service. As we know in the end of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Sarva dharman parijyatya mam ekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shrutyah. That you should just give everything up and just surrender. This is the essence. This is what Krishna is saying all over. You know, he says that you can do this, you can do karma yoga, you can do this. But again and again he says to Arjuna, but it's not very intelligent. You can do this, but then you get this result. But if you do this, if you do pure bhakti, then I'll take care. Ananyas chintayantam yejana paripasate. Then for my ananya bhakti, I carry what he lacks and I preserve what he has. I take fully care, that's what Krishna is saying. But still we find it so difficult for this full surrender. Isn't it? We all have this something holding back. Prabhupada once said this, that Krishna has unlimited hands and we have two. So we can try to hold back, we can try to, this I want to save, right? This I gave all this, but this I want to save, so I hide it here. But Krishna is in all the atoms, he knows our inner minds. And he can see everything, and he has unlimited hands to take away all our wealth. So why is he not? Because he wants us to give it. He wants us to give our complete free will, everything, give our intelligence, our heart, our everything in our possessions should be used for Krishna consciousness. So difficult, because it must be some kind of lack of faith. Because we all, Anandamaya Vyasa, we're all looking for happiness. So we're trying to find it there where it is, or where we believe it is. So we might believe, I'll be happy if I do this, or I'll be happy if I have this, or I'll be happy if I get this, whatever. But really that's not what will make us happy. And deep within our heart we know. But still it's so difficult to just say, no, from now on, sarva dharman parijyatya. There's no more dharmas. There's only one dharma. Savai pungsang paro dharmo yatho bhakti aduksita. And that dharma is savai pungsang paro dharma. This highest dharma is simply to surrender. So we see it all over Bhagavatam. There's all these different examples we get so that we can try to follow them. And we know Bhagavatam is progressively, it's chronological, but it's not chronological, but it's more like progressing in devotional service. So we have so many people we hear from that are surrendering, but with material desires. You have Dhruva Maharaj. Did he have any material desires? For sure did. Right? He wanted a kingdom. He wanted a kingdom higher than Brahma, his grandfather. And he says, this is the only thing that will make me satisfied. That's what I want. This is what I want from life. And it's only when his motivation was that his father was more inclined to his brother, you can say stepbrother, than he was to him, because he was more attached to Suruchi than he was to Sunita. And so Surita said, how dare you sit on the lap of my husband? Maybe in next life, because you can become fortunate by taking birth from my womb. And then you might be able to sit on the lap of your father. But now you're not really entitled. And Dhruva Maharaj became very sorrowful, of course, being 7 years old. So he ran to his mother, Sunita. And she said, no, I don't know what to do, because it's true. Your father loved Shurichi more than he loves me. And she said that, but people they search for Krishna, for God in the forest. So maybe that's what you should do. Maybe that's where you should find your happiness. That's the only shelter. And Dhruva Maharaj immediately, okay, this is what I will do. So he had this Ikiha Kurunandana, this one-pointed attention. I want to do anything to achieve this. Now my pride is hurt. How dare my father say like that to me? So now I want revenge. I want to show him. I want a kingdom higher and bigger than his. So that was his motivation. And Narada Muni, he came and he tried to persuade him, no, you shouldn't. Right? You shouldn't, you're just a boy. Things happen, this is the material world, right? Things happen, disagreements are there. You just go back and everything will be all right. So he tempted him, or he tried to test him, see where his faith was really at. But Dhruva Maharaj says, no, your words is not really sitting in my heart, because I'm overcome with, I don't know if you use the word anger, but I'm overcome with this desire to attain this. So your word does not really sit in my heart. So he went. And Narada Muni said, you should go there and you should perform austerity and you should chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and then everything, Krishna will come to you and you will attain perfection. You'll get anything you want. So he goes out there and he lives in performing severe austerity. First month he is not eating, is it? Next month he is not drinking water. Next month he is eating only some dry leaves. First he's eating only some dry leaves. Then he's not drinking water. Then he's not taking any air. And by that the whole universe is suffocating. And then, as always, Krishna comes, Vishnu came. And he said, okay, what do you want? And Bhagavatam says, after Dhruva Maharaj, he saw Vishnu. He was completely purified. Everything was taken away. All the anatas was taken away from his heart. And he said, I only want you, my Lord. I was searching for broken pieces of glass, but you came with diamonds. So how is it difficult to choose? But what was the difference? Vishnu was there, Krishna was there, directly. He saw him at darshan. Is it that Vishnu even touched the conch shell? Did he do that to Dhruva Maharaj also, to his head? Can't remember if he did that also to him. But just by seeing him, he was so purified, immediately I don't want anything else. I don't want anything of this world. So all the things we are hankering after, all the things we think will bring us happiness is only a little flickering, little enjoyment, and then as Bhagavad Gita says, in the beginning it's like nectar, and then poison. But we fall in the same trap over and over again, right? Doing the same things over and over again. Because we haven't really understood what Dhruva Maharaj went through, is my guess. At least I didn't understand. Maybe you did. So Dhruva Maharaj, immediately he understood, this is what I should do, I should just surrender to this perfect person. So we are all looking for the perfect authority. We are all looking for the perfect person. We're looking for perfection. And we can see that in everything we are doing. We want everything we can get. Look in the material world, everybody's searching, but there's no saturation point. For most people, there's no saturation point. If they get 100,000 in their bank account, right, then they want 1 million. If they get 1 million, they want 2 million. If they become the richest man in Denmark, they want to be the richest man in the Nordic countries. If they become the richest man in the Nordic countries, they want to be the richest man in Europe. If they become the richest man in Europe, they want to be the richest man in the world. If they become the richest man in the world, they'll be the richest man in the universe. So this is like there's no saturation point. This is the nature of sense gratification. It's never really give you that ultimate sense gratification or ultimate satisfaction. So that's why it's so difficult for us, because we still think, we still hope against hope. We are hoping maybe this will give me this happiness I've been looking for. Maybe this will give me my security. All these fallible soldiers, Atmasan Yesuasu, all these fallible soldiers we are taking shelter of. Det har Padyakalata Disu, Atmasan Yesua Satwapi, Tisang Pramato Niranang, Pashanapina Pashati. Everyone is trying to find shelter in Deha, in the body, or in the wife or husband, or in my money, or in my martial arts, or in my weapons. They will protect me. Well, how long can they protect us? How long can our money protect us? We can just say now how everything is so insecure right now, like money, like what will happen. The future is very but even at least at the time of death, what will it help us? What will we buy? This businessman said to Prabhupada, give me just a few more, what did he say, just a few more, one more year or something, a few more years. My mission is not yet completed. He had got a disease, and he said, please give me just a few more years so I can complete my mission. But you can't buy even a second. Not a second. So what is the most valuable we have in time? Time, because if we utilized Ayu Harati Vaipung Sang Udyan Ashtanta Yanasau Tasya Te Yatata Yata anyway, Ayu Harati Vaipung Sang, the life air, Ayu Harati Vaipung Sang, it is taking away of all living entities. By what? Udyan Ashtanta Yanasau, the rising and the setting of what? The sun. Every day the sun rises, we are one day closer to death. Or every day the sun sets, how do we see it? One day closer to death. Except a devotee who is utilizing his time to serving Krishna. He becomes deathless. Of course we have to leave this body, but then what happens? Going back home, back to God, there's no birth and death. This is the place where the happiness is in abundance. Unlimited, but still we take the shelter in the material world. So we can learn from all these personalities. Prahlad Maharaj, more surrendered than Dhruva Maharaj. He's now in the 7th canto. More surrendered. Did he have any material desires? None, practically. His father, try to put yourself in Prahlad Maharaj's shoes. He didn't use any, but see in his situation. He would inherit the whole universe from his father. His father was practically, he was controlling the demigods, all up to Brahma and Shiva, with the exception of those. He was controlling the whole universe. All the demigods was his servants. He would use them as his personal servants. Unlimited wealth. His father had unlimited strength, practically. Not unlimited, but lots of strength. So Prahlad Maharaj could just say, oh, that's quite a good situation. Maybe I should just accept my father as my authority, and then I'll get everything. I'll become the ruler of the universe, practically. But no, because he saw, within the womb of his mother, he saw the Supreme Personality of God. He heard Bhagavatam. And that was enough. And why? Because he went through the whole thing in his previous life. We all have to go through, like very few of us come like Anitya Siddhas coming. So wherever we're at now, we just started up from where we ended in next life. Or it's only Prabhupada's mercy. One of the two reasons. Maybe we did some Agyata Sukriti last life, or maybe some Gyata Sukriti, or maybe it's only just Prabhupada's mercy. When the devotees ask Prabhupada, what is our Sukriti? Yeah, Prabhupada said, I created it. I just made it for you. So we are completely, everything is just given to us for free by Prabhupada. He just gave it for free by his mercy. He just says, here it is, here's the bhakti. And now just the only part of the contract that we have to fulfill is following the contract. So that means, like Prabhupada says, do this every day, right? Chant 16 rounds, study Bhagavatam, do some seva. So if we fulfill the part of our contract, what will happen? What will happen? We'll go back to Godhead. Right? And that's really what these great souls, Prahlad Maharaj, he saw that. Hiranyakashipu said, is he in this pillar? Yes. Prahlad Maharaj saw him in the pillar. It's not like Vasakriti, yeah, he is everywhere. Krishna says, Namam Pashyati Sarvasatra, whatever. Wherever, like Krishna is everywhere. He's in the atoms, he's everywhere. So a pure devotee will see that. For us it's theoretical understanding. For me it's a theoretical understanding. I know, okay, Krishna is in this harmonium, Krishna is in this wall, and Krishna is in the trees, and Krishna is all around, in his disguised form. So I know that theoretically. But they live it, so they see it. That's their practical experience. And that's why we know in Uttamadhikari, he cannot really preach. Because you see the soul. So either it's the soul is in a cow, in an elephant, in a brahmana or whatever. Right? He sees the soul. He sees through the disguise. He has uncoded, if that's a word, material existence. The code is there, like the magic is there, the spell of illusion is all over. Right? Everything is covered in this illusion. That's why also Krishna Arjuna says in the end, Nasta Moha. Now there's no more illusion. After you explain the whole Bhagavatam to me, it's gone. I had a lot of illusion before. Right? I thought I should just go to the forest and I should not follow your bidding. I should just follow my own ideas. Nasta Moha Smitya Labdva. Now I regained my memory. So we have forgot, or we have lost our memory. Meaning actually we have lost our intelligence. We have lost what we already knew. That's what Arjuna said. Now I regained that memory. Now I re-established what I already knew. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? By Chatprasada Mayastyuta, Ucha Achyuta. Just by your mercy, Krishna. Nastamo Smitilam Chatprasada Mayastyuta. Stito Asmi. Now I'm firmly situated. Gita Asma, there's no more doubt. And Karishe Vachamang Tava. Now I'm ready to completely follow your instructions. Now I will follow every word you say. There's no more doubts. There's no more illusion. Now I regain my memory. Now I'm ready to follow your instructions. Now I will fully surrender. And that's where Arjuna takes up his bow and arrows. Now I understand. That is what you want me to do, Krishna. It's difficult, but I'll do it. Was it difficult for Dhruva Maharaj, 5 years old, to stand on one foot for a month and eating only air first it was every third day, then it became every sixth day, and then it became every ninth day. Was that difficult? Most likely. Right? 5-year-old boy. But he was so determined. He had that one-pointed attention. This is what I need to do. This is the only solution. Right? He understood, I'll never find real happiness in this world. It's purity. The gopis, no question of not surrendering fully. But they cannot not surrender fully. That's just a famous example when Krishna had a headache. Can we get the dust from your feet? No way, that said the queens of Dwaraka and everyone else. But the gopis says, here it is. Take everything. Everything what Krishna wants. That's what I want. So that's the Kansara Dharma Parityaja, that's the conclusion, and this is what we are here. All occupational duties are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. Ultimate liberation. Liberation can be a dangerous word in devotee societies. But ultimate liberation, what is that? Going back home, back to Godhead. That's what life is for, and material gain should never be used for anything else. So it's a gradual process, but we should make plans so that that gradual process will end at the end of this life, latest. That this will be the last life we have to take, last body we have to take in this material existence. And go back home and play with the cowherd boys and Krishna. Run around with cats and eating unlimited mangoes or ladus or whatever we want, right? And just having the eternal pleasure of being with Krishna. Of course we are not always with him. That's the nature of the spiritual world always. That sometimes Krishna is with you, but sometimes not. So then there's Vipralamba, there's this love in separation. But then you see him next morning. Again we go out to the cows. That's why the cowherd boys, like we wake up with an alarm clock, but they are waking up, even if they were using an alarm clock, they would wake up hours before the alarm clock. Because, hey, we're going to Krishna, we're going to Gopal, we help him dress today. Oh, it's my turn to help him put on his dhoti. It's my turn to sit next to Krishna. Then we're taking breakfast prasadam. So, I want to go there now, So they're racing. Or the Gopals, they're racing who can come fast in the world and be with Krishna in the morning. Every day. Never get dull. That's the difference. Here everything has a saturation point. Right? You can enjoy something for a little while, but in the spiritual world, Krishna is there. And Krishna is ever expanding. His beauty is ever expanding. Everything is ever expanding in the spiritual world. That's why it's never boring. So this is so good advice Bhagavatam is giving us, but so difficult to follow. So difficult to really live that minute by minute, day by day, month by month, year by year. But if we're capable of doing that, our life is perfect, even now. That's what Krishna is saying, right? It is joyfully performed. Rajavitya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Bhagamam Damnam Susukham Kartum. Kartum means to do. Susukham means very much happiness. Sukham means happiness. Susukham, very much happiness. Very high happiness. So, advice, we are getting it again and again, we are getting it every day. Whenever we read Bhagavatam, whenever we read Prabhupada's books, because that's his conclusion of everything. Yesterday we heard from third chapter of Bhagavad Gita and Karma Yoga. It's not really about pure devotional service, but Prabhupada's purport was just like, okay, we speak here about yajna, it was worshipping the demigods. And Prabhupada said, yeah, people who don't really know Krishna, they can worship the demigods. But he ends up saying, but what is the real yajna? Sankirtan yajna. That's the real yajna. That's the yajna you should do. When you understand that everything comes from him. Sarva karana karanam, aham sarvasya prabhu. When you understand that, that's what you naturally do. That's intelligence. That's why Prabhupada said, you are intelligent to the degree you surrender to the Lord. That's the intelligence. Everything else, material intelligence is not real intelligence. How to make a lot of money, that's not intelligence. It's just not real intelligence. Like dharma, we hear the word here dharma, dharmasya bhavakasya. So we hear dharma. What is dharma? Mostly actually Prabhupada use dharma as religious. As we hear dharma, artha, karma, moksha. This is also what Prabhupada is speaking about in the purport. Dharma, artha, karma, moksha. And second verse in Bhagavatam says this is completely rejected. How's this? Okay, how is this second verse? Amazing. It's the most famous verse in Bhagavatam, come back to me.
Dharma protita kaitavata.
Dharma protita kaitavata. Thank you. Dharma protita. And all this so-called religious is Dharma protita kaitavata. This kaitavata. This protita is completely thrown out of the Bhagavatam. There's no mundane religiosity. There's no mundane dharma there. Kaitava dharma. Completely non-existing. It's all about fully surrender. That's what the Bhagavad, because that's where Bhagavad Gita ends. Again, Sarvadharma Paritita. That's Krishna's conclusion and Arjuna's conclusion after you heard. And that's where Bhagavatam starts. So there's nothing left there. In Bhagavad Gita, again, Karma Yoga, Prabhupada is giving the conclusion in all the verses, but that's in Bhagavad Gita, it's like Karma Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or all these things you can do. Nishkam Karma, Sakarma. So all these different options are there, but in Bhagavatam, no. Full surrender. Now you have read Bhagavad Gita already. Now I'll tell you, no, you just follow from there. Don't go back. Oh, Karma Yoga, that's good. Then you should transcendental knowledge. Again, more Karma Yoga, 5th chapter. Then 6th, you get the whole Ashtanga Yoga process. 7th, transcendental knowledge. And Krishna really starts speaking, okay, this is what you should do, transcendental knowledge. You should know who is the Supreme Person. Janma Karma Chami Divyam. That is what you should do. And then from there, attaining the Supreme, 8th chapter, 9, Rajavita, the most confidential knowledge where Krishna really goes and tells, again, Manmana Bhava Matbhakta. That verse in 18th chapter is repeated practically word by word, except it's just the last lines. The same verse. And then it's repeated in the 18th chapter. 10th chapter, all the opulence of the Lord is explained, Krishna explained. Universal form in 11th chapter, 12th chapter. Devotional service. How to perform devotional service. Very good. Now you understood this is what you should do, Arjuna. This is transcendental knowledge. This is how attaining the Supreme. Now I explain to you how to perform devotional service. What makes you dear to me? 13th chapter, again going back to explain nature, the enjoyer, etc. And then 14th chapter, the modes of material nature. 15, again, the banyan tree and supreme yoga. How to attain Krishna. 16th chapter going back to explain the modes of material nature. And 17th chapter, the vision of faith. And 18th chapter, perfection of yoga. Again, everything is repeated. And that's where it ends. And that's where Krishna starts in the Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva starts in the Bhagavatam. There's no more Kaitava Dharma. Now it's only pure devotional service you're talking about. So this is the Paramahamsa Samhita, Prabhupada says. This is for Paramahamsas. Or it makes people Paramahamsas, you can see it both ways. It makes people Paramahamsas. So if you want to attain that, if you want to be Paramahamsas, here is the key. To open the box, right? Safe of Paramahamsa Adhikari. It's there in the Bhagavatam. That's how we learn how to do it. Or even more in Caitanya Candradasa, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes and shows it directly. Krishna explains it, Bhagavatam Vyasadeva explains it, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and shows. So we are taken by the hand, right, by our Supreme Father. This is what you should do, my dear son, my dear daughter. This is what you should do. So we just need to follow. Not blind following, but just following in the footsteps. So thank you very much for your attention. Any comments? Yes?
Thank you for a very nice lecture and reminding us of this message. So Srila Prabhupada, as you mentioned, he's kind of turning everything into pure devotional service, always giving the conclusion, because that's from his viewpoint as a liberated soul of the highest order. So Prabhupada is very clear in his way of presenting things all the time, but then we see that now, in the present day, ISKCON society, many leaders, prominent preachers, they have a kind of different focus. They're more like having, you hear like it's more, what's it called, motivational speaking, and they have different angles of it, and you don't hear this conclusion when they speak. They don't even mention sometimes Krishna very much. So how is it that they seem to have another focus than what Srila Prabhupada had, who's our founder Acharya?
Yeah, it's very much up in the times, that bridge preaching they call it, right? So you're building a bridge so that people out there who have no understanding, they can easily come over, but also the opposite can happen. The devotees go from the bridge they're preaching about, so they go over there on the other side of the bridge. It's like, there's many answers to that question, I think, but one answer would be that there might be times, place and circumstances where it is bridge preaching can be have an advantage, but mostly not. And again, we saw very, very rarely Prabhupada would do. Sometimes he would sit and talk with people, just, how are you doing, how is your family? We hear even Rupa Goswami, or Sanatana Goswami would go in Vrindavan and ask people to, how is you doing, this Vaishya, how is you doing with developing wealth? But that's also a kind of preaching, but it's in specific time and places. If we go on the street and we start giving a lecture like what I just spoke, and we go that to a person in the street, most likely this reciprocation will not be, he will not really just, okay, that's what I'll do, I'll just surrender, and I'll surrender everything. So we are always doing some kind of bridge preaching. But the danger comes when we take it into the temple. That's in my understanding. When we take it into the Vyasa-san, where that becomes a bridge preaching, that's definitely not Prabhupada's mood. But we see that it's just the nature of Kali Yuga. Everything is just deteriorating. Everything is just going downhill. Right? So when the purity goes, then people start thinking, maybe we should do something else. Why is not? I heard this so many times. We've been distributing millions of books, literally millions of books. I think even in Denmark. So why are there not more devotees? Why are there so few devotees? All these books, they should have made devotees, right? We should have temples booming with devotees. Why are we not? So it doesn't work. But that's not how it works. That's not like, Krishna is not our servant. You go out and preach and I'll supply. That's not how it works. Right? You just go out and you distribute a book, and every book you distribute, that person will come to join the temple. That's not Krishna saying, Caitanya Candradasa. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you're not entitled to the result. So our right is to do our karma, our activities, our prescribed duties. Our right is to serve Krishna. That's the nature of the soul. But the result and how everything goes from there, that's up to Krishna. That's where we should be completely detached. That's up to Krishna. Why is Krishna not sending more people? He most likely have a very good reason. He has for most he's doing. That was an estimation. Everything is doing naturally. So everything Krishna is doing is perfect. Everything in the material world, because it's created of Krishna, is perfect. Purnam ala purnamidam. Purnam udashyate. Purnasya purnam adaya. Purnam eva vasishyate. Purnam means perfect and complete. So everything in the material world is perfect and complete. So we could say, like, why is there death then? Or why is there so much suffering? But that's part of it. That's part of the perfection of this material world, because this is not our home. So Krishna made it perfect by making it imperfect, so to say. Krishna made it perfect that this is not because we don't want to wake up on our own. So Krishna is coming gently first and trying to wake us up. And if that's not working, give it a little more force. Yes, Guru.
Could also be, as we hear, it's difficult to surrender, therefore they hold back, because we have too many wishes from our past. And we have to go through also.
Yeah, so many desires.
For all our desires and wishes we have to go through. Krishna give us, and so therefore after we first can take the last step.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go through them. But we have...
I'm also not sure. But
we have the desires and we want, but again, that's what Krishna is really saying here. Give it up. Just Osava Dharma Pradhyata. Just give it up. All this you want, just give it up really. And just surrender. But for most of us that's difficult. So we are like saying, okay, I give this up, I give this up, I give this up, but this I'll hold a little.
Yeah.
And I think that's natural to some degree. Not that we should rest on our laurels and just say, okay, this is how I am, I will never improve. We should have a plan of improving, but also be honest and sincere in the way that, like, okay, I have an answers. I'm not a pure devotee. I want to become one. So then the plan should be how to do that before I leave the body. And then we all have different... And that's coming back to this, like so much is been coming watered out in ISKCON and all societies, I think, practically. See what happened to Christianity. Again, in the beginning they were very, very serious, they were Vaishnavas. And then the Romans, they infiltrated the whole thing, and then gradually everything was deteriorating. And Prabhupada came and he gave the purest thing again, like Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Imam Parampara Praptam, Imam Raja Suyogadu, Sakali Nihamata. In time, the disciplic succession was broken. And now I come to re-establish it. So that's what really what is happening, that Krishna comes and re-establishes religion. And then again it deteriorates. Because that is the nature of the material world, especially Kali Yuga. This is the nature of this world. That everything is just constantly going, is it called entropy? Everything is breaking down. Is it entropy? Huh? No? I think it is, yeah. Everything is just breaking down, constantly. This is the material world. Shiva is breaking everything down constantly. So we are trying to build up things, our faith included. Maya is constantly trying, dragging us down. These two qualities of Maya. One is saying, you're okay. You're okay. There's people worse off than you, so you're okay, you don't have to endeavor so much. And the other one is constantly dragging down, trying to take 2 steps forward, and Maya will try to drag us 3 steps backwards. So it's natural. Again, Prabhupada said, don't be surprised who leaves, be surprised who stays. That is the nature of the world. And most likely it's part of Krishna's plan. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. So it's part of Krishna's plan that everything is so, also within ISKCON, that many of these gurus, sannyasis or whatever, not really up to the standard. Who were living like a sannyas today. Right? Many of them, I don't want to get into all this, but many have their own big apartments. That's not really sannyas. Then okay, be a grahasta, that's fine. Right? But be honest. So that's just the nature of it. That people who have desires, but then follow that ashram. Fine. That's what the grahasta ashram means. People with desire, they go into that ashram. When that desire is is frustrated, then you take vanaprastha. But then you live in a different way. Then you cannot have your luxury cars and your free iPhones and iPads and big apartments here and there. And that's a different ashram. So there's austerity everywhere. So you need to choose your austerity, so to say.
Vanaprastha is actually more austere than sannyasa.
You can say living in the forest, not cutting your nails, all these things Bhagavatam mentioned. Yeah. So maybe it's good if you can, but maybe it's not necessary to follow to that extreme. But what was Prabhupada's example? Right? Preaching. That's what Prabhupada said. This is what you do. If you want to live in the renounced order, then you preach all the time. Study and preach and do seva, but you have no facilities, material facilities like that. You can live under a tree. Krishna supplies, that's what Prabhupada says. Krishna supplies temples and Krishna gave all this. But Prabhupada said, my curse is I get all these great facilities, but I can only live a few days. Then I need to go to the next place. Imagine that austerity, constantly traveling. And if you're tried for some time, sometimes just we go to India, right? Get jet lag and it takes several days before you get back to normal, right? And then you start complaining about the heat and the rickshaw wallers are making noise and all the cars and Prabhupada's constantly traveling, constantly in that age. What austerity is that? So we take the austerity that Krishna sends us or Prabhupada gives us, and that is preaching. That is preaching and chanting and studying and doing our seva. That's our tapodivyam, our transcendental austerities. But again, if we need to follow what that's the ashrams, different ashrams have different austerities or different perks, you can say, but you need to fit into that one of these categories. You cannot do shopping, as Prabhupada said. Like go shopping. I want this from this ashram and this from this ashram, and then I take a saffron dhoti and a white kurta. That would be the solution. Like, no, you need to take the whole thing, right? Either you have saffron or you have white. Or that's the choice. No, not in between. Doesn't work. Krishna says Chaturvanya system is Krishna's system. He made a system. That's perfect. So you just try to follow that. And the ultimate conclusion to this, what your question is, in one sense, it's our duty to tell people something is wrong, but besides that, we just need to take care of our own devotional service. What we are making here, right? We are making this, we are trying at least, in our own humble way, to make this what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada speaks so much about farm communities and growing our own foods and all this. Prabhupada speaks about it again and again. It's so much emphasis on Vana ashram and farm communities. And we are trying to follow Prabhupada. We take the books as Prabhupada read them himself and preferred them. We don't change them and don't want to read those books that are changed by people definitely less elevated than Prabhupada, to say least. And we try to follow Prabhupada's instructions like this, right? And what everyone else is doing, that's up to them. We can warn people, careful if you follow those, because Bhagavatam says it's like entering a stone boat. If you follow people who are not really following their guru. So don't go into a stone boat if you're in the middle of the ocean. Then you will sink together with the boat. So our duty is to, in a discreet way or in a polite way, not criticizing, tell people, careful where you tread there, because you might not end up getting the real result if you follow a guru who is not followed, because then he's no longer guru. But besides that, whatever they're doing, that's up to them. It's grown people, and if they want to cheat themselves, what to do. So we take care of our own. Like we say, this is what we want to do. We want to make a place where devotees, sincere devotees, can come and they can be part of that, and they can grow in a lovely family like this, be together with devotees like this, and take prasadam, do a little seva, and plant a little seed here and there, and get some carrots when they're ready, and cook them, and come together, have kirtan, and hear katha, and be happy. Happy life. Simple life and happy life. So that's what we're trying with this project to be facilitating. What everybody else is doing, their business.
Yeah. They just criticize all the time.
Yeah. We shouldn't get into this, right? We shouldn't, because it pollutes our consciousness. If we're constantly going thinking, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, even in the material world, whatever the demons are doing, we should know it. Of course, we shouldn't be in ignorance, but why meditate upon it all the time? Why not meditate upon Krishna?
Yeah, criticize, just go away from Krishna.
Yeah, just throws you away. Lose taste. Krishna takes the taste away. That's not really our duty. We shouldn't be self-proclaimed gurus. Guru really means like you're asked by a person, will you please guide me? And then you can choose to say yes or no. And if you say yes, be careful. Right? But it's not something you just say, oh, now I'm guru. Now I tell everyone what to do. We can advise, right? Especially if people is asking, we can give advice. Say, okay, this is what I would do if I were you. And that's really what we're doing also when we're preaching to people, new people. You say, this is a very nice lifestyle. But we're not telling people, do this. You do this. Well, we cannot tell people. They'll turn around immediately and walk away. You say, this is a very nice life. We're advising. It's not really what we call preaching. It's really advising. This is a very good solution. You can do this also. You can also become happy. You can also attain the highest knowledge. You can get the answers to all the questions in the world, all the questions you have. That's what's really mine, right? Before I met the devotees. All these things I didn't know. It's bothering me constantly. Why is God there? There must be something, like we were talking yesterday. There must be something, right? Well, I couldn't really, because Christian philosophy, no, it didn't really work for me, right? Buddhist philosophy, no, really it doesn't work for me. And immediately I came to Iskon, I heard the first lecture, wow, that was it. That was what I've been looking for. But before that I didn't have the answers. So when you get that, that's such a wealth. Such a benediction. Oh, there it is. Now I know. And do you want more? Do you want to know more? Here it is. And take this book. You want to know more than that? Here's the next book. You want to know more than that? Here's the next book. We have all these books. That's why Prabhupada emphasizes so much. Says that the temples may go, the devotees may go, but my books will stay. Right? So that's the revolution. That's the revolution. Like Bhagavatam says, this Bhagavatam is meant to make a revolution in the empire's life of this misdirected civilization. Yeah. Beautiful, huh? Bhagavatam is made to make a revolution in the imperfect life of this misdirected civilization. This is what Bhagavatam is for. And we have it. Yes.
I think perhaps, these material desires or devotional service, it's a very thin line between this. It's like a share between, but I think it's so wonderful to see here on the farm how we're so immersed in practical service. So whenever the mind is projecting all kinds of ideas, like the Mongol miracle yesterday, we thought, oh, now we don't have the Mongol. They declined because of drought in the trade there. We couldn't plant them, and we thought it would be nice with some mangoes. And then the neighbor, he comes up, not even like 20 hours later than we thought that we won't have the mangoes for Krishna. He drives into the driveway, and said, I've been thinking of you, I've got some mangoes for you. So the mind is projecting all sorts of ideas all the time. And nature, Maya, or Krishna will fulfill, but only if you're immersed in a project that will overshadow everything else, and you're trying to apply it in Krishna's service, or you're trying to dedicate it for Srila Prabhupada, then your mind is still very dangerous, because it's projecting how many thousands of ideas a second, but you're kind of protected because you're trying to utilize everything in Krishna's service. So it's.
I think you asked me, obviously yesterday, you asked me what was best with my life before or after coming to the farm. And of course there's more work here, that was really your question, right? There's more work here and you need more level of surrender, I'll say. But also that the reciprocation, Krishna's really showing again and again. It's like it's
Spontaneous.
amazing. It's happened so many times. We wanted a trailer, and all of a sudden said, "Hey, would you want my trailer?"
Yeah, for free.
You just mentioned it. Like the mango, they went bad, so now we can plant them, and we wanted them so much. And then the same evening or day after, our neighbor comes and says, "Here we have mangoes."
Yeah.
So it's happening again and again. So Krishna's reciprocating, and that's really again. Krishna is not cheap, but if you do what he asks, right, and if you endeavor a little, then Krishna reciprocates. Then Krishna shows, okay, here you have it.
Yeah.
Right? Here you have it. Right?
It's
Still,
like
we practically don't know where the money is coming from every month, right? More or less, still it's going on.
Yeah.
Right? By the mercy of the devotees, Jackie just gave a good donation, right, and. Dorone is also giving every month, Akriti, Mataji is giving. So people are just giving, like, sending, Krishna is sending by them, through them. So, it's
like the 1 step and the 1,000 steps. You really think that, we're doing so little. It's really premature, like a child, like in a sandbox, make it like an awkward cake with sand or mud. And then Krishna is just storming against you, giving you so much reciprocation, like 1 step and 1,000 steps. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Yeah. Okay, Candradasa, Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Jai.